Hello everyone. I apologize for the change again and the fact that I'm unscripted today, but I just wanted to post a little something because of what today is and what it means to me and what it means to people around the world despite kind of a lack of media attention today. Today being December 8th, 2011 is the 71st anniversary of the day that John Lennon was shot dead in front of his apartment in New York City. In case you couldn't tell by the poster in the background or the records on the wall behind me, I am kind of a Beatles superfan. Probably a little bit more than that. I'm kind of obsessive. I've read many books, and I have box sets of albums, and I have records and CDs, and just about anything. But I want to put, like, the griping, the bias, and the people who are going to hate and say, the Beatles were just a band, and John Lennon was just a singer, and all of this. Let's just take that and put it aside for a minute, and just talk about what today is and how important it is. So, one of the things that I think a lot of people forget about the Beatles and about John in general is that they were really the first to do what they did. A lot of the things they did, when we look back on them, they're not really all that impressive. I mean, they were in a band. They had girls swarming all over them. They played songs about love and holding hands and being cute. And then they turned into hippies and they wrote songs about politics and love and flowers and all of that good stuff. And then they got into fights and then they broke up and then they started dying. I mean, it's kind of the story of just about every band from the 60s. But the important thing about the Beatles is that they were the first to do a lot of the things that we consider normal in the music industry right now. For example, the Beatles were one of the first bands to really write and record their own songs. A lot of bands, and people will say, the Rolling Stones wrote their songs and everything, and they did, and I'm not going to discount the Stones or the Who or anybody like that. But a lot of bands just covered old blues songs or had songwriters that wrote songs for them, and then they went into the studio and recorded them. But the Beatles wrote and recorded just about all of their songs. Their early albums have a lot of covers on them, but that was the only way you could sell records at the time. Once you get into like the third or fourth album that they released, and I'm not going to give names because it depends on which country you're from, and I don't want to get into that today, but once you get into those third and fourth albums, you really get into the stuff that they were writing themselves, about themselves, and that was something that a lot of people hadn't done before. You also see with the Beatles the first kind of three-dimensional celebrity, where they were in a band, but that didn't define them. They did other things. And that's where John's life story really comes in, because John was really the first philanthropist celebrity. He cared a lot about charity, he cared a lot about certain causes and certain rights groups, and we all know that. But what we forget is that he was the first one to do that. There was no Bono, there was no any other kind of activist like Lady Gaga or whoever. John was the first artist to really take the money that he earned and take the celebrity that he earned and use it to help other people. And I think that a lot of times that gets undermined. And so if there were one thing that I could thank John Lennon for today, it would definitely be that. But beyond that, his artistic output and his influence and everything, that's all really important too. And that's something also that I think we forget about. I mean, John was probably, it's arguable between him and George, but he was one of the most creatively diverse Beatles. I love Paul and Ringo, but they've always been kind of standard rock and roll guys. John and George really dug deep and found other genres to mix with rock and roll, which hadn't really been done. And then you get into the stuff that John did with Yoko, some of the experimental avant-garde stuff. And yeah, I mean, I personally can't listen to it because it just bothers me. But it was very different, and it was very risky, and it was something that he felt passionate about, and that's why he did it, and so I think that's incredibly respectable. So, I guess the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want people to forget about who John Lennon is, and who he was, and what he meant. I'm sure there will be tributes, and Yoko will probably be in Iceland to light the Imagine Towers and all of that stuff. And just a quick little, current music news blip. Yoko Ono and the Plastic Ono Band are playing with the Flaming Lips in Oklahoma City for the New Year's Eve Freakout. So if you're into the Lips and Yoko, definitely get into tickets for that. I know there's still tickets on sale. I personally won't be going because I have to move back into my dorm at school, but I would love for some people on YouTube to go and then post some videos so I can kind of live vicariously through you. That would be cool. So that's really all I have to say today. I hope you remember John. I hope you guys love his music as much as I do. And other than that, I guess just have a good Thursday.